Welcome to A Cup of Compassion, sponsored by the Show Me Hope Crisis Counseling Program and the Center for Trauma-Informed Innovation at Truman Medical Centers. I'm Andrea Dalton, a Special Projects Coordinator in the Center for Trauma-Informed Innovation. And today I'll be sharing some information on how we can hack our neurochemicals in order to improve our well-being. And I will guide you through a practice designed to promote self-compassion and compassion toward others. Please note that the information shared in this video session is not intended to be a substitute for professional, medical, or behavioral health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. If you have questions, you may leave them in the comments section of this video, and we plan to respond to questions until November 6th, 2020. So there are 4 chemical messengers in our brains and bodies that are connected with feelings of happiness, joy, and satisfaction. And those are dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins. Increased levels of these chemicals contribute to motivation and productivity and well-being. And they are actually released in response to a lot of different stimuli in our environment, as well as internally, things that we think of, things that we feel, things we experience. And the great news is that we can intentionally cause those to be released as well. So that's what I'm going to spend a little time talking about today. So first, looking at dopamine. And dopamine is released when we achieve a goal. It motivates us to take action toward goals and toward getting our needs met. And it's often referred to as the reward chemical. It makes us feel a sense of pleasure and satisfaction. And we can actually hack into our dopamine production by setting small incremental goals and celebrating at each marker. So having a little pat on the back even, or a bigger celebration every time you achieve one of those incremental goals. So I'll invite you now to think about something that you have accomplished, big or small. And if you like, you can close your eyes and remember that accomplishment. And just think for a minute about that. Note how you feel in response to that. You might feel a little bit of a rush. Your heart rate might increase slightly. You might smile and have a sense of satisfaction. And you may also sense some energy moving into your body, especially into your arms and legs. And those are effects of dopamine release, as well as probably a little serotonin. That is another neurochemical that is also released in similar circumstances. So I'm going to talk now a little bit more about serotonin. So I encourage you to just take a breath and kind of release that little visualization. Serotonin increases when we feel significant or important. Our brains actually have a really hard time telling the difference between real events and imagined events. So serotonin is produced even if we simply reflect back on a success, or when we engage in a gratitude practice that reminds us of our own value and how much we have to value in life. So I'll encourage you to take a moment just to bring to mind that same accomplishment that you thought of a moment ago. And this time, consider your role in making that accomplishment a reality. Think about what qualities you have that helped make that happen, and then express some gratitude in whatever way is comfortable for you. Additionally, getting some sunlight promotes serotonin production. So getting outside in nature is an excellent boost to well-being. The next category of neurochemicals that I'm going to talk about are endorphins. And endorphins are released in response to pain or stress. They actually decrease our perception of pain. And a couple of the best ways to release endorphins are exercise and laughter. Also really interesting, the research shows that the smell of lavender and vanilla, as well as the taste of dark chocolate and spicy foods, have been linked to endorphin release. So my advice then would be take a good brisk walk, watch an episode of your favorite comedy, set out your aromatherapy candles, and indulge in some chili dark chocolate or whatever spicy food or dark chocolate you like. The next category of neurochemicals that you can hack are in the category of oxytocin. So oxytocin is often referred to as the love hormone, and that is because it is released when we feel intimacy with another person. It's also released when we have a trusting relationship with someone, or we share something very personal with another person, or they share something personal with us. And we also experience a release of oxytocin when we get a hug. Additionally, receiving and giving gifts, whether those gifts are tangible, like things you can actually hold on to or not, can also boost oxytocin. This is a neurochemical that I think probably a lot of us during the pandemic have probably not had as much of as we might normally have, because we are not really able to be that close to people, especially people that are not kind of within our bubble. So it isn't quite the same, but remember that our brains have a difficult time distinguishing between imagination and reality. So what I would like to do today is lead you through a practice that might help boost your oxytocin production. And the way this will work is I would like to invite you to send thoughts of loving kindness out to others, just with your mind. And also, we're going to do that with ourselves. We often overlook the impact of sending loving kindness to ourselves, experiencing loving kindness for ourselves. Oftentimes, especially when we get stressed, we will tend to default to shame and blame and judgment of ourselves. We say things like, well, I should just get over it, or I should just do this, I should just do that. And we always like to encourage people not to should on yourself, and instead recognize that when we do that, that floods our brains with stress chemicals. On the other hand, if we engage in some self-compassion, or we send loving kindness to ourselves, that actually boosts some of those neurochemicals that I talked about, and also helps improve our ability to be compassionate toward other people. So for our practice today, if you're comfortable, I'll invite you to close your eyes. And if you like, place your hands over your heart. And if you put a little bit of slight pressure on your sternum, that often feels really good. If you like, you can rub your hands together, kind of warm them up a little first. It's chilly in Kansas City today, so that feels pretty good to me. Warm my hands up. If you put those over your heart and just push in a little bit on your sternum, and that might begin that process of releasing those helpful neurochemicals. So again, if you're comfortable with your eyes closed, take a few deep breaths. Breathe in through your nose, now through your mouth, and feel your body relax slightly with each exhale. Again, breathing in and out. Once again, breathing in and out. Now bring to mind someone whom you care for deeply. If you like, you can imagine them sitting in front of you, or you might just picture them, what they look like, what it feels like when you're in their presence. And you may notice that you begin to smile slightly. Now, with the image of that person in your mind, I'll invite you to repeat these phrases, either out loud or in your mind, to this person. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. And just sit with those feelings of loving kindness to that person for a moment. And if you like, you might put a little more pressure there on your sternum again. Or if it feels good, you can even give yourself a hug as you sit with those feelings of loving kindness toward that person. And now take a deep breath in. As you exhale, just release the image of that person, again, with loving kindness. And as you breathe in again, bring to mind an image of yourself. And now with yourself in mind, and with as much compassion as you can, repeat these phrases either out loud or in your mind. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. And as you continue to breathe evenly, if those were difficult phrases for you to say to yourself, I'll encourage you just to imagine what a good friend or someone who really loves you would say to you right now. Bring a slight smile to your mouth. And have a sense of that compassion wrapping around you. And then take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, release that image of yourself with loving kindness. And take a moment just to notice how you feel. Try to notice without judgment how you're feeling right now. Acknowledge what emotions came up. And as you're ready, you can take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, you can open your eyes and release the practice. So it may be that one or both of those were difficult for you. Certainly, depending on what's going on in your life right now, expressing compassion to either someone else or especially to yourself can be very challenging. So this is a practice to try. It does take practice to begin to treat yourself with as much kindness as a good friend might. So I will invite you to make that practice a regular part of your daily routine. Find a time, maybe it's right before bed, where you just pause for a moment and think about someone that you really care deeply for. And then try that with yourself also. Again, repeating, may you be safe, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you live with ease, and may I be safe, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease. And just note how you feel after doing that a few times. So that concludes our practice and our session for today. I will invite you to join us again for this weekly Cup of Compassion on Thursdays at 12:30 Central Time. We'll be right here on YouTube Live. And again, this video will be archived on our YouTube channel. And we will continue to respond to comments and questions as people bring those to us. and we look forward to future sessions. You will no doubt hear more about self-compassion along the way. That is a really foundational practice for us in the Center for Trauma-Informed Innovation, and something that we feel very passionate about spreading into the world. If we could all have a little more self-compassion, perhaps we could all have a little more compassion for one another. We'll also be sharing additional tips and practices for building resilience. And we will have a wide variety of those from many different presenters in our department. So we are really looking forward to bringing those to you and hope that you will be able to join us. If you find yourself needing some crisis counseling support, we would really invite you to make use of some of the resources that we have available through the Show Me Hope Crisis Counseling Program. And I believe those are coming up on the screen, the numbers that you can call. The local number for crisis counseling is 816-404-6222. Although if you need something more immediate than what might be able to be provided through that number, we strongly encourage you to call the Disaster Distress Helpline, and that can be reached at 800-985-5990. You can also text in order to reach that Disaster Distress Helpline, and you text the phrase "Talk with Us" to 66746. Thank you so much for joining us today, and take good care.